Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. The next generation of Vermonters is taking action to protect our lakes, rivers, and streams. Through a unique partnership between Vermont Technical College and the University of Vermont Extension, college students are learning to develop and implement on-farm nutrient management plans. The plans are required by state law, and they do two things. They help farm businesses boost the bottom line, and they help protect our waterways. Keith Silva tells us more from the campus of VTC.
So how did everybody do with their homework from last week?
In applied nutrient management at Vermont Technical College, students study the 3 E's: Earth, Environment, and Economics.
So this is as real as it gets.
This class is being taught in partnership between Vermont Tech and University of Vermont Extension. For the first month and a half, the focus is on soil science, followed by a 6-week course on nutrient management planning taught by Extension agronomist Heather Darby.
All right, so you can lose potassium to leaching.
She uses this same curriculum to teach farm owners who are required by state law to create personalized nutrient management plans. Molly Willard manages Vermont Tech's Institute for Applied Agriculture and Food Systems. She's the co-instructor for this course.
Right now, nutrient management planning is a pretty hot topic for the state of Vermont. So I think the great thing about UVM and VTC collaborating, and specifically Extension, is that we get access to a much larger faculty population with specific expertise in specific areas. Like Heather Darby has great expertise in the nutrient management in which she's teaching. So for us to be able to offer that sort of cutting edge research that's being done in that field and have access to faculty through Extension and UVM is really beneficial to our students and, vice versa.
Having students develop a nutrient management plan in class has real-world impacts.
We try and reach out to the matriculated students a year ahead of time so that they can get a land treatment plan in place and do all the things that they need to have so that by the time they enter the applied nutrient management course here at VTC, they're able to actually walk away with a approved nutrient management plan for their home farm.
Michelle Poulin is a senior. Her family runs a beef and maple operation not far from the Vermont Tech campus. Taking this class has helped her better understand the science of farming.
I think the biggest thing with the nutrient management plan is it just kind of allows you to take a step back and realize what you have to work with and realizing how different each field is, I think is the biggest thing, because you can't really, you think, oh, this one's the same, but when you spread it out over 100 acres, there's lots of different parcels in there that have completely different things. If you've got 10 acres that are next to the river, that's going to be completely different than what's up on the hill.
Quinn Nelson is from Darby. This class puts into perspective what he's experienced growing up on a dairy farm and what he's learned at Vermont Tech.
I figured all the classes I've already taken, plus experience, perhaps this would be a little bit of one of those things I just need to take care of. But it wasn't. It's been incredibly informative. Everything she's talking about up there when it comes to either the organic chemistry of it, all the nutrients, the soil types, I've learned all this, and this is all coming together now.
Nelson knows having a nutrient management plan goes beyond the borders of his family's farm.
It's our responsibility as land stewards to keep everything healthy, keep our waterways healthy. We rely on it more than most. And a nutrient management plan really highlights what you need and what your crops need, and it takes away a lot of the guesswork, which oftentimes can come to over-applying, wasting money, and also pollution. So it all comes together.
Certified nutrient management plans became mandatory on all Vermont farms in 2016. Darby believes learning to write and implement a plan ensures that this next generation will have a vital role on their home farms.
This is a new requirement for a lot of farms that have been operating for generations. And here comes, their daughter or their son that is ready to do it. They've already been trained on how to do it. They can take on that responsibility. And that means a lot to the student and the next generation. And it's going to mean a lot to those parents too, because it's going to give those students a role on their farm that they may not have otherwise had right when they come home.
Darby's audience for this course is usually many years removed from the classroom. But getting to teach college-age students is one reason she wanted to teach this class at Vermont Tech.
It's a good investment and a smart investment in Vermont's agricultural and environmental future. To start here instead of at the end of their career, at the beginning, makes total sense.
A good investment in the future of Vermont and its working landscape. That's something we all benefit from. In Randolph Center, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Our thanks to the students and staff at Vermont Technical College for welcoming us into their classroom. And joining me now is Chuck Ross, the director of UVM Extension. It's great to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. So has this partnership with Extension and VTC been going on for a while, or?
Yeah, it's actually one of those wonderful things about Vermont. VTC and UVM have had various collaborations over the years, and this is the last and latest, not the last, but the latest iteration of that, where we are able to have one of our really top quality faculty members work with VTC and have access to their students, and their students have access to Heather Darby. It's
That's
really
fantastic.
wonderful.
And you know, another thing, one, it was great to see this new generation learning this stuff, but it always also struck me how committed they were to land stewardship.
You know, that's one of the wonderful things about agriculture today is we have a bunch of young people moving into agriculture. They are taking it in the full measure, all aspects of their operation. They have awareness for the environment as they have awareness for animal health. And you know, as you saw in that classroom, they are learning it from the ground up and understanding the science, as well as the animal husbandry, as well as how they engage their community and the environment.
Yeah, it's amazing. So what is Extension's role when it comes to this required, now of course, nutrient management plan?
Well, the wonderful thing that we do in Extension, and I'm so proud of the people we have in Extension, is we are helping farmers learn what it means to manage a nutrient management plan. It's a great opportunity for us to help them understand how to use their manure in a way that optimizes its value to their farm, and also by so doing minimize the impact on the waters of the state. And this is part of the regulatory requirements, and we help them comply with the regulations as well as do better on their farm in terms of production.
Which is great. So how are these plans part of the solution for improving water quality?
Well, you know, they help the farmer understand that each parcel of land, and actually even sub-parcels, are different, and they need different application rates of manure and nutrients that can also come in the way of commercial fertilizers if necessary, and thereby having the plants get the right amount but not too much, and therefore not having excess nutrients run off the land and into the waters of the state. So it really is fine-tuning the utilization of a resource on their farm so the crops get what they need, but not too much. It saves them money, increases production, and prevents water quality issues as well.
Since this has been going on for a little while, and more now, why is Lake Champlain still being impacted?
You know, this is a tough one. Lake Champlain's a really big body of water. It's a large ecosystem. It's taken decades to get to the point where it's as problematic as it is now. It's going to take some time for it to turn the corner. But this is part of that process. We're not going to see things, you know, flip overnight, but we're on the right trend, and this is an example of the kind of commitment we need on the part of farmers and others in the state to get to that point where the Lake Champlain's going to get better.
Right, because there are like decades of nutrients
it's
in the water right
now.
We've
all been a part of the problem. It's you know, whether wastewater treatment plants, runoff from commercial sites, residential construction, farm fields, we've all contributed, and it's happened over decades. And unfortunately, we're at that point now. We're seeing it manifest itself in blue-green algae blooms in some places, and other negative impacts. And the good news is I think the state of Vermont understands we're all in this together. We're all going to have to work together, and if we work together, we can make progress.
So what do non-farm professionals need to know about what you're doing here?
Well, one of the things is that the farmers have been identified as being part of the problem. In fact, it's recognized they're about 40% of the phosphorus contributions to Lake Champlain. But the non-farm folks also need to know that the TMDL plan put together by the EPA and the state of Vermont rely on farmers contributing 68% of the solution in the way of the reduction of phosphorus. So that means that actually the farmers are going to contribute more than their fair share to the solution. And so they're at the wheel, working hard, trying to do what they can do, and it's actually going to be more than their contribution. And why? It's because it's the most cost-effective place to do that kind of work, and as a consequence, other economic sectors don't have to do as much. But the real point is, we're all in this together. We all helped create this problem. We all need to help solve this problem.
And we can't just put it on their backs.
They've
got enough going on.
Well, it's no one single problem, and while farmers may have been identified as 40% of the problem, that means 60% came from someplace else, and that's the rest of us. And this is one of the reasons why this is all of our problem, and I think we can work together and support one another, support the farmers to do the right thing, and everyone else support, whether it be residential development, commercial development, upgrading and managing our wastewater treatment facilities better. All that's going to make a contribution.
Fantastic. And so to learn more about UVM Extension and its statewide education programs, not only in agriculture, but also in youth and community development and other areas like natural resources, check the website uvm.edu/extension. You can also call the State Extension Office toll-free at 866-622-2990. Thank you so much, Chuck, for coming in today.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll see you again, I hope, not too long from now.
If that's the case.
And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard.